Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Gustafsson and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.
E5, it's E5 Patzers.
A complete repertoire against 1E4 based on 1E5, now available to study with Chessable's unique Move Trainer technology. The backbone is the Marshall Gambit against the Spanish, with 3 Knight F6 against the Italian. Jan Gustafsson has revisited all these lines he has played for 20 years and worked on as a second for Peter Lecko and Magnus Carlsen, amongst others, with the help of the most powerful engines out there, Leela 0 and Stockfish 10. This has led to many new discoveries and a repertoire ready to master on Chessable that can serve the student for a long chess career.
Maybe E4 doesn't exist after all.
E5, it's E5 Patzers.
Okay, so let's send a challenge.
Here is challenging. Nice graphics, easy to see. What are you thinking about? You're looking how it can be the most painful?
Exactly. Okay, fine.
That I give up a phone. He wants to be even rude.
When I saw her for the first time, it was love at first sight. I love how rich and complex she is, how sharp and principled her first steps, how graceful her movement. Paris is a city of love. I've come to find my love for the French defense.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the tiebreaks that will decide who wins this final FIDE Grand Prix. It's Hikaru Nakamura versus Wesley. So after two, let's say, uneventful draws in the classical games, today they will play and we will get some action. Peter Svidler, are you very excited?
I am tremendously excited, yes.
Go.
Absolutely bursting with it. But yeah, today should be a good day. They both have been very, very impressive recently in shorter time controls. Perhaps public perception would suggest that Hikaru more so than Wesley, but I'm not sure that is even entirely true in over the board events, because I mean Hikaru's record at the World Rapid and Blitzes is pretty decent. Let's put it like this in recent years. But Wesley hasn't really been playing all that much, so it's difficult to compare.
So both good at chess. We don't want to insult either by naming a favorite. Is that the statement?
I guess Hikaru starts as in my mind at least. Hikaru starts as a favorite in a rapid time break against most people not named Magnus Carlsen, but yeah, gonna be close. But also like sample size is so small today that edges, whatever they are, don't really factor into it. Whoever is going to make fewer mistakes on the day is going to win. But I'm expecting it to be very close.
Yeah, in the head-to-head, Wesley's been ahead in the classical portion, but in the Rapid and Blitz, Hikaru does have a significant lead here. I think won 18 games, Wesley won 9 if we only count the Rapid and Blitz games, with, of course, bunch of draws in there. And he does decide to play 2 knight c3, the Vienna game. Good move, but not as popular as knight f3, which would attack this pawn. After knight f6, bishop c4. Do you think Wesley fancies the Frankenstein Dracula variation?
Probably not, sadly, even though it would be very much fun to watch, I think, if they went for some of that stuff. And there's been some developments there, right? It's not played exactly like it used to in earlier years.
This is the OG, but this is supposed to be better for white, as far as I know. None of this happening, of course, but it's a fun line to look at, like bishop b3, bishop e7, and f4 is the latest.
Is this Jordan's big idea, or I seem to remember
Johann Sebastian played this?
Oh yeah, Johann Sebastian played this. Yeah, I thought it was one of the young tykes who came up with this recently, or showed it recently. I'm sure many people may have had the idea.
Who doesn't have the idea of 6 f4 in this random position?
Yeah, it's absolutely random position. Yeah, must have.
Not today though. Wesley decides to play a much more common sense approach. Goes bishop to c5. He doesn't want to commit to knight c6 just yet. To have the option of playing c6 and d5 possibly. If white goes knight f3, he can still transpose to some sort of symmetrical Italian. Hikaru plays d3, keeping options open but not putting pressure on the center. Therefore, Wesley plays c6. I've played this position myself after f4. I think d5 or e takes f4 followed by d5 are supposed to work. And after knight f3, which is the main move here, black typically goes d6, and you get sort of a reverse Italian where black wants castles, d7, knight f8, whatever. Hikaru plays queen to e2, which looks strange to my eyes. He does stop d5 for the moment, but
for the time being, yeah.
Usually the queen is not doing great.
Honestly, I wonder even about that, because I guess bishop g5 refutes it. I was wondering if you can play d5 with d5 castles. And dc6, knight c6, I'm prepared to argue is pretty decent for black, but I guess bishop g5 here might be awkward. Not allowing the pawn to be recaptured so easily, and also not developing the knight on b8 for black. But yeah, Wesley obviously not really interested in gambits so early when castles is a perfectly...
why would you? He can play
exactly.
Next move. No, if he pleases, I don't think it would get captured, so white just plays bishop b3.
Bishop b3 is also very playable, I'm sure, yeah. And here, now we have the same question that you've spoken of slightly earlier. d5, I'm sure, is playable, but after bishop b3, followed by bishop g5 next move, I guess, the black center does come under sustained pressure. And playing d5, d4 is never a particularly happy idea. Wesley goes b5 and then d6.
Bit surprising. I'm sure it's fine. I'd have played d6 and be fairly happy with the position because the queen on e2 looks strange and everything else is normal. But he decides it's a good idea to get this in. No play d6.
It is very much a reverse Italian, though, and in the reverse, like in the Italian proper, the idea of gaining space on the queen side with b4 and a4 is absolutely the vogue these days. So, and also the bathtub. Yeah, we have to. Our very first mention of the bathtub today.
So Hikaru clearly not looking for an opening debate. He wants to get to play chess, but he's paying a bit of a price. It does look extremely comfortable for black to begin with, because the knight is already committed to c3, so you don't even have these plans. And once again, the queen on e2.
The queen e2 looks weird,
not
right?
very well placed. I recall this game where Magnus against Hu Yifan, he played something like, I'm not sure if it was this, but something along these lines. Maybe it was d3, c6, queen e2. And then later in the middle game, they made some wrong moves, and Magnus decided to put the queen back on d1 because it really wasn't well placed on e2. And it was a very similar position. So I'm not sure what this is about, but Hikaru, he's probably saying it's just a chess position. Who cares?
Yeah. But yeah, should be completely fine for black. The big question is whether, like, I guess the two most natural plans to continue from here would be rook e8, knight f8, knight g6, or with the bishop on b3 the way it is, bishop b6, knight c5 is also very much something that you would be interested in as black, I guess, because the knight on d7 looks natural, but it does need to be, I'm guessing, developed further somewhere because it's slightly in the way. And rook e8, knight f8, you have to ask yourself, are you worried about knight g5? Are you prepared to spend a tempo on h6 to stop knight g5? So there's all kinds of, like, there's a branching questions you ask yourself there, which is why bishop b6, knight c5 I kind of like slightly better, just because you don't have to bother yourself with all those things. And also, if you allow bishop b6, knight c5, a7, a5 after all that happens will be a very, very annoying positional threat, which kind of makes me wonder if white is supposed to solve this immediately by playing a4 and just kind of creating a square on a2 for the bishop on b3. But Hikaru goes bishop g5 for now. With the g5 square occupied, I am more in favor of rook e8, knight f8 now, in particular because it allows us to unpin the knight on f6 very comfortably by playing h6, knight g6. Or knight
also fairly standard maneuver in the Italian with colors reversed. Usually you consider this pin a mistake because the bishop just gets hit by this knight arriving. So it's all a bit all over the place how Hikaru's playing. He's clearly trying to get an unfamiliar position for Wesley, but it does not look great because you're a tempo up compared to the Italian, but the tempo is queen e2, which blocks your knight from its most natural path. And as mentioned, bishop to g5. This threat can be unpleasant if black has a knight on c6, but with the knight on d7 and this plan you mentioned, it's really not something to worry about. Wesley keeps grabbing space. Not sure if you want to provoke this, but he's arguing with the knight.
I think we go a4 before knight d1 and get it to e3 and suggest that, on e3 it at least does something. It has some squares to look forward to. I'm still not a huge fan of the white's position, but maybe you can see glimpses of return to normalcy, so to speak, like moving arguably your worst piece to a square it actually occupies in a lot of these Italian/Spanish structures.
Yeah, a4 plate.
B4 will be played, yeah. Yeah, and I think knight d1 is stronger than knight b1. You could make some argument for knight b1, but I don't particularly like it. I think getting it to e3 is more logical.
Hikaru agrees. Knight to d1 plate. And still the same question. Although, I really don't understand why you would spend a tempo on a5 to encourage this maneuver. But still, after rook e8. With or without h6, followed by knight f8, black looks fine. Curious if he wants to go for this now, but that sort of enhances the pin, also the bishop.
Yeah, I think bishop is a decent enough reply. Yeah, he's gone h6. I also wanted to suggest that maybe it makes more sense to wait until the knight actually lands on e3. to cut off even the option of kind of correcting our mistakes here and going bishop g5 e3 for white. Even though, of course, black is not worried about bishop e3. I mean, you're not worse, but maybe you would like to not even give that option to white, because as you mentioned, getting the bishop to h4 and then hitting it with knight f8, knight g6 is definitely something he could have considered.
He does play bishop e3 now, Hikaru, that is, and yeah, also makes you wonder why not go h6 after bishop g5 to force this, because typically the bishop is misplaced there. So yeah, Hikaru clearly winging it a little bit move by move here. But the question is, how much damage has he done to his position? Is he worse, or is it still acceptable?
Black is extremely comfortable.
Yeah, you pick black for sure.
Yeah. And I very much like rook e8 here, once again saying that the bishop trade will now probably happen, but please make it for us. And yes, c3, I very much like the idea of bishop a6. Even the immediate d6 d5 is interesting, but bishop a6 is just such a comfortable move to make here. Adding pressure to the white on the white center and just developing naturally. Bishop a6, rook b8, d6 d5 to follow. The more I look at this, the more I think black is just genuinely better.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was like a kind of a moral advantage, like around equality, but just slightly more pleasant to play. But I think it's actually better. I think white is potentially in trouble.
Also, the moves come easy because the white pieces are just misplaced, and whenever you take, you lose a tempo after knight c5, bishop c2. Then you have to worry about even b3 if you want this. And if we have a rook on b8, bc will also be unpleasant. No, it's just a bad position. Yeah, sloppy opening play by Hikaru.
Yeah, there's some suggestion in chat that the engines already like really hate this for white, and
I believe it. Let's see how much. Wow, -2 after bishop a6.
Yeah, that's what I saw in chat, and I thought for a move 13 position with equal material, this is a number you don't see very often.
But yeah, starting with the white pieces, playing e4, bishop c4, d3. Yeah, but it adds up. Like this queen e2, it doesn't look like much, but it's really a strange square for the queen because the knight only has this route later on once it gets hit as a good route. And then bishop to g5 also doesn't make a lot of sense here because it's not really putting pressure on this construction. Now he backtracked, and c3 with the pieces uncoordinated also seems to be bad, just giving black more targets. So sloppy start for Hikaru. Bishop a6, queen c2.
Yeah, queen c2 was semi-forced because knight takes e4 even was, I think, a threat. And now we can continue improving quietly with like rook b8, or we can go d6, d5, which might be actually quite difficult to parry. Yeah, just a very unpleasant position for Hikaru. B takes e3, I don't quite, and I guess just completely removing even the potential for c3 takes before might make some sense, even though I don't think it was such a strong idea.
I guess he wants bc, rook b8. Yeah, bishop takes d3 already.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you actually parry it? Takes, knight takes is a disaster.
Bishop a2, I guess. I'm very worried about rook b1. Like normally you would play rook b1, but I'm very scared of kind of tying more of my pieces into d6, d5. Just very often going to be kind of crushing here. Followed by, after we've taken away the c4 square from the knight, even bishop takes e3, knight takes e3, knight c5 becomes a horribly difficult threat to deal with. It's not a threat yet because bishop c4 would be a good reply, but once we've played d6, d5, it just, yeah, like when doing it here removes much of our advantage. But yeah, let's say you play g5, white goes rook e1, which is a normal looking move in response, and here bishop e3, knight c5 just looks crushing. How do you even stop stuff from falling? Alex Stein says, looks almost losing. Is it possible to hold? I guess against a sort of perfect play, possibly already not, but this is a rapid game and it's not that easy to never let your opponent back into the game.
Especially if the opponent is Hikaru. But black also only has to make natural moves. It's not like he has to do some crazy calculations. The position seems to more or less play itself.
Yeah.
What's Wesley going to do? I wonder, no, but he's too strong a player. If he could still be in the let's equalize with black mindset, but here there are too many issues.
Not here, I think. Yeah, and yeah, more people in chat saying exactly the same thing that I said earlier, that it doesn't really look like the number we're seeing on our screen. But that, I think, is very much based on the fact that, like, not very much happened. It's move 15, white. Okay, it's clear white did not play this perfectly, but you're very much defaulting to the idea that you need to commit some very, very grievous scenes to be -2 in a position with equal material in some kind of an Italian, but looks like Hikaru shockingly actually managed today.
We should also mention that, okay, at least the engine I'm running here, it's this Stockfish 14, which is very aggressive in its evaluations. Once it sees there's trouble, it doesn't give whatever, -0.90 like the old engines, because it's so fast, I can already see his way to a bigger advantage. So sometimes it's deceiving, sometimes it's still, quote unquote, only a pawn up advantage, but since the engines are so strong, they can already spot that.
Rookie 1.
It's gone.
Is he bishop exists? Bishop f7 exists. Yeah, okay. I was freaking out there because Hikaru doesn't blunder pawns like these. It's just not a thing that he would.
Computer, which I just switched on to see the number, says this is completely winning for black. I don't expect this to happen, but it does consider this to win.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'm guessing d6, d5 is still quite strong, even though Hikaru cleverly made sort of the more important of the forcing moves here, like unpinning the d3 pawn is very important in the context of meeting d6, d5 with something.
It's curious though that this is just winning, like.
Well, the e4
exchange down.
Yeah,
I understand, but still.
Yeah, once again, I would pick black here in an instant, but I wouldn't really feel like I know I'm winning. But yeah, the evaluation suggests it's completely broken for white.
And it's not the evaluation bar that's broken; it's the white position.
Rook
to e1. Wesley. No, there's no way he's playing rook takes b3.
Yeah, I think he would if that was the only good move available, but I think there's plenty here that looks and probably also is very strong. So there's just no need. Yeah, d6 play, sorry, d5 play. This is what I expected to happen. When you have a natural move like this, which is not a sacrifice, which clearly gives you a lot of edge, why bother with the quote unquote speculative stuff, even though it wasn't very speculative?
How does this go if white takes?
Just he takes d5
and d4 with something drop.
I'm guessing he takes d4. I mean, e4 is also strong, but like even something like this, like 94, 95, it looks horrendous, right? Like something comes to d3.
Knight is just such an idiot.
Yeah, like knight g4, knight d3.
So something will drop on the b file, probably. It does look tough.
Just looks horrendous, yeah.
No, the knight, if it was on some normal square, play continues, but it's also blocking the rook from entering the game.
Bishop a2 played.
a2.
Yeah, this position I have actually seen on the screen while you were running the engine earlier. The engine suggests basically just since I know the answer, it suggests going bishop b3, knight c5, and then after rook a d1, just taking on d3 twice. And it says this is completely winning for black. Once again, not a decision that can be taken very easily. Just bishop d3, knight d3, and knight takes e4. Says -2.5.
It's probably right, but yeah, it's not what humans do, because this material balance, you feel like you could potentially be taking some risk. Although, yeah, looking at the position, it does look crushing.
Looks fantastic, but obviously we're biased by the fact that we know it's good, and also it's easier for us because it's not our game and we're just discussing hypotheticals. And you're probably better even if you do something quiet, I would assume. Like if you make some kind of a waiting move here, I don't know, queen c7 or whatever, you're still better. So you're not as tempted to go for something that is as forcing.
Then again, all the pieces are out. Should be 3 knight c5. Does look natural enough. After rook ad1, do we have other
Yeah.
options?
This is the issue with bishop b3 knight c5, is that you've actually developed a couple of pieces for white. So if you are not winning here immediately, you've
Let's say I
improved.
take and I go here.
Yeah, and now after, let's say, bishop c4,
Hanging in there.
you might actually survive with white, right? Because it becomes very symmetrical, and I got most of my stuff out. My rooks are now where they should be. So you really only do that if you know how to progress after rook ad1. He has taken on e3 though, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like from a human perspective, if we do the entire same sequence, but we take on e4 with the pawn, not the knight at the very end. I wonder if that is the more human way to explain to yourself why you're better there. Because I think it forces knight queen takes d8. I mean, queen c4 exists, but I don't believe it works. So we go queen d8. Unfortunately, we have to take with the b rook, but still, it forces knight h4, and now we go, I don't know, something, knight d5.
I would never do this from
Yeah.
a weaker human perspective. Like, it feels, first of all, it's not obvious to me why it's winning, and also we've weakened our own structure so much that
Yeah,
we're not winning with dynamics.
I was just wondering why he played bishop takes e3 so quickly, and I thought maybe this looks nice to him. But yeah, it just doesn't look clear at all. I suspect black is fine, but yeah, it doesn't look. I'm not even sure black is better there, and definitely pretty sure black is not winning. And the position after knight takes e4.
Next question. Assuming once again he doesn't want to do this, which wins, takes, and bishop here. I really want that pawn.
Yeah.
I just want to be a pawn up without any.
Yeah, queen c1, I guess.
We go here.
Do we even need to go? Like, is it possible to already munch? Like knight f4, is there a refutation?
Or to munch with the bishop.
Yeah, knight f4, I guess knight g4 is annoying, right? And suddenly there is a lot of counter.
Feels like my pieces are.
Okay, so queen c7 or queen b6? Yeah, let's go queen b6. Additional threats of queen b2 cannot be.
Hikaru took with the e-rook, so we should adjust our debate.
Yeah.
To this position.
Not quite sure why this is better.
Looks worse after takes and bishop d3, because after queen c1 you're even blocking this rook in.
Yeah, the rook on e1 was kind of useful in those lines that we were just showing. Yeah, not entirely sure why he chose this. Yeah, somebody's saying, Plukru is saying, in case of rook b2, sometime in the future, the bishop on a2 is protected. Which is true, but there's plenty of lines where you will, I think, regret not having a rook on an active file. Yeah. And once again, we're seeing this. I mean, I might be very much sort of incorrectly predicting what will happen, but you already start seeing kind of the outline of how Hikaru might wiggle out here and get away with it.
d4 plate?
Yeah, d4.
How do you wiggle? Bishop d3?
I mean, queen c1 and
b6. Show me the wiggling.
Yeah, knight c4. It's annoying though. Yeah, it's just a healthy pawn, right? I thought knight c4 wasn't that bad, but you take on c4, you take with the c knight. And yeah, I would really like the rook on e1 here. I would like to play queen c2 here, and for that move to be a threat. Honestly, not sure it would have saved me the game, but I would very much like to have this rook on e1 here.
Queen c1 on the board.
Maybe not much wiggling going on yet.
Also goes to show these e4, e5 structures. You can't just make any move, even with white. Like they can be dangerous. And also, this is very much an Italian gone wrong with colors reversed. Shows how tricky the Italian is if you make a few steps wrong. Like it can get very unpleasant.
Queen b6, knight f5. And then knight takes h6 against most of your captures on e4. Like, I'm not expecting this to work, but I think it might be a decent punt in a rapid game compared to, the normal stuff, which is just a healthy pawn down.
Yeah, at least you mentioning knight h6 already scares me.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't work. Like, I'm sure the computer just laughs. I don't really have very many attackers, but the bishop on a2, whenever the bishop on a2 is kind of alive and is unblocked, all of these ideas of getting the queen to h6 suddenly become a lot more attractive. In particular, as I mentioned, in a shorter time control game where you can sort of semi-bluff or even bluff more comfortably, because people take a lot of practical decisions deciding that they don't even want to calculate.
Yeah, what does he have to lose? You could argue as well position. It's already lost, so might as well. Queen b6 plate.
Yeah, we'll see what Hikaru does, because his choices are, I think, knight c4, which at least trades some pieces, and he doesn't look, he doesn't lose immediately, but, and yeah, rook b2 here. I mean, queen f1 or g1 or even knight h4 exists.
I just want to take your bishop.
Ah, yeah, 2 is also hanging. Yeah, okay. And honestly, after knight c4, I was still planning to take on h6. Like that was
no bigger hacker than you.
Yeah, I wanted to create a mess and go from there. But I guess even knight takes f2 might just win here, yeah? Or
also, are you threatening checkmate? You wouldn't bluff, would you, sir?
I actually only have 2 checks here, yeah? I thought this was a perpetual, but it's actually only 2 checks.
Yeah.
I can go bishop takes f7 though, right? Queen g6, and then no, I don't have enough attackers for this, but maybe I can take bishop f7 here, because I have protected the g2 pawn by accident.
That's true. Yeah, too complicated.
Yeah, and this is what I mean. I am absolutely certain this is not working, but I'm also, you know, there's plenty of an argument to be made for this being better than a technical position Wesley will just coast to victory in.
Hang on, this bishop is also touching this square, so check is not horrible, right?
Queen takes?
Oh no, sorry. I saw someone with a check board.
Queen f3, queen h6. Yeah, I couldn't make it.
No.
I legitimately, like, I'm sure it loses, but I don't know to what. Like, absolutely no doubt I'm losing here with white, but we've spent a minute staring in this position, and I still don't know what the solution is.
Come on.
I think maybe knight takes f2 is cleaner, because knight takes f2 creates a very strong threat. Just here
is covered.
Yeah, and also covering g6 is not stupid. Yeah, just go knight f2, queen g5, king f8, queen h6, king e7. That probably actually does do the job very comfortably.
That does get it done. Nice.
The checks completely run out. Yeah.
Still feel there's some. No mate. Yeah, it's so tempting.
Yeah,
I need to check. Let me ask computer.
Yeah, sure.
To mock us.
Queen f2,
Queen f1, king h1, rook b2.
There is a very clever move at the end of the line that we were just showing. Yeah.
Bishop f7. Bishop e3 is nice. Queen e3 is nice.
Yeah, just take away the h6 square, and then we do give mate.
Or win the queen. Yeah.
-10 or thereabouts. Yeah.
Computer's good. Hikaru decides to go full defense, or I don't know if this can be called full defense, but decides to retreat with knight to d2. Preparing some jumps here.
Yeah, he clearly tried making something more active work there. He spent, I think, 3 minutes there out of 8 he had, or 9. And yeah, ended up correctly estimating that the hack attack would not have achieved its objectives.
That's a strange sentence. Here, knight here. Not winning yet. What do we do?
Yeah. Brain absolutely polluted by the fact that for a second there the first line was visible. And I'm trying not to give the right answer. Yeah, knight e4 seems pretty strong, but maybe we take and we go knight c4 d6 or.
You don't want to give Hikaru any jump ability. We all know how amazing he is to.
Wesley really good at chess, though.
He does go queen a7, which was the first computer line. I also saw it for a second. I just didn't think it would happen.
I was
sidestepping any knight c4s.
Yeah, just says you have one counter idea, and I will just remove myself from it. And now bishop e2, for instance, is a very, very strong threat with knight d3 to follow, because white doesn't have any tempi to rely on.
Is this called prophylactic thinking? He wants this, I'll go away, and then
It is,
we win.
I think, legitimately very impressive that he plays this in a rapid game. Took him a minute and a half. It's not an easy move. You can get there by logical reasoning, but still, I'm very impressed.
Yeah. There's also probably, this is not how people who played Wesley feel, but he's sometimes considered as a dry player, a theoretician, and maybe that's because he has a somewhat more peaceful approach to the game, but that doesn't stop him from being an absolutely amazing calculator. I've heard people say that his biggest strength in these shorter time controls is just his lightning fast calculations. So I do think that he's Hikaru's equal when it comes to calculating. Hikaru, of course, has this special tenacity that, it's hard to chalk up to whatever, calculating or mental toughness or whatnot. He just never gives any easy points and holds all kinds of crazy looking positions or wins them even. But this one's going to be rough.
Yeah, bishop c4 mentioned as an idea here for why, but unfortunately for Hikaru, just straight up loses to bishop takes c4. Because if you take with a d knight, you lose to a fork. Bishop takes c4.
Bishop c4.
It wins more material.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Knight d, you lose to knight b3, and knight e, you lose to knight d3 and knight f2. Just loses on the spot, so completely unplayable. Knight dc4 played, and now I guess we just start collecting, right? I'm guessing we start by knight f takes e4 to stop knight d6.
Better.
Not only is it winning a pawn, it also stops knight d6, which I quite like.
I was wondering about bishop e2 to force the rook here and then take more stuff, but maybe.
I really don't like allowing knight d6, though. I just don't want to calculate it.
All right.
Knight g4 is the move I would like to make here with white. Otherwise, I don't really understand how we're creating counterplay, but yeah, not really rating this as a... Now bishop b2 probably just wins, right?
Take here again? Yeah, fine.
Now bishop b2
Keep
wins.
doing this.
Yeah. This looks pretty strong. Yeah, you just can't play this. Yeah, rook e6 there, I guess, ends the game immediately. Bishop takes d1 probably also not bad, but yeah, rook e6. Just
f3, whoa.
Where's Ben Feingold when you need him?
You always need Ben Feingold. But yeah, you could argue the position was so lost anyway that it doesn't matter. But this, it's not a pleasant move to make.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going completely off the rails.
He wants to force the knight back and then go knight d6. Yeah, but even that,
even that probably doesn't work. And also, I very much like the idea of starting with bishop takes c4. But yeah, Wesley says, "I ain't afraid of no ghost."
Do you think Wesley has watched one or multiple Ghostbusters movies?
Probably not.
I'm always curious. I should ask him at some point, like if he watches movies and what his tastes are like. We might be surprised.
Yeah. But that is kind of...
He did watch them. There you go. Nay?
I mean, it's slightly blasphemous material, so I wouldn't expect him to be a huge fan of that particular franchise.
Ghostbusters?
Yeah.
I'm not into details. I've seen the recent one, whatever it's called, Renaissance, Resurrection, something. I'm re-cashing in. But I wasn't a big fan. This kid that's in it from Stranger Things, he's going through a weird phase of puberty. It really ruined the movie for me. Get it together, Finn, what's his name? Wolfhard. Stop puberty. Just saying.
Yeah. Not the easiest task in the world.
No, he has more experience there.
I wonder if Wesley wants to... Oh, just rook f8. Whoa. Absolutely cold-hearted stuff. I was wondering if he's planning to go rook e6. It's probably my twisted desire to give up other people's material, but I don't think it's a bad move either. Like rook e6, bishop a6, f takes e6, and then how do you stop knight b3? But yeah, Wesley is not interested.
Not even putting it on the board. Wesley covers the pawn. And now he shall win because he's a pawn up with the much better position. F3 also long-term hurt the king. And just as I say these things, the entry bar is saying, no, bishop e2 mistake. We're back in business.
I'm guessing knight f5 now.
No bigger jinx than me. Sorry, Wesley.
Knight f5, bishop d1, knight g7 or something, or knight h6, I don't know. Knight g7 would have been a cute move if not for the fact that knight d3 actually probably delivers smothered mate, which would be a drawback.
Isn't it mate?
Where? On which side?
No, I thought you said drawback. So how does this go?
Yeah, knight h6 is... My issue is something like king h7. Gh, queen h6 I think might actually be quite unclear, with knight f5 coming in. Bishop e2 is a strange move.
He was trying to win on the spot with knight d3, but apparently it doesn't. And Hikaru doesn't seem to have much of a choice. I don't get it. Even, yeah, I was going to ask because I said knight d3, but queen g1, you're not even picking up anything directly. Nope. Mistake by Wesley. We're back to action. Because now if he has to lose a tempo, then okay, I guess he's still better. But at least also the dynamic changes, no? So far Wesley's just played great. He has outplayed Nakamura. But if he sets a foot wrong here, Nakamura is not yet lost, then he will use that famous.
Yeah, and also you probably actually have to go back, right? Because knight d3 queen g1 is your pieces just get stranded.
Yeah, it's not helping, strangely.
Yeah, he's gone all the way back to a6, and yeah, this is now just a game. Knight e5.
Wow.
Yeah, Hikaru unbelievably slippery. You really can't let him off the hook.
Yeah, this is insane. Or not insane because we see it happening so often, but it's still surprising that when the computer yells +3 or whatever at you, that he does manage to find ways to keep these games going all the time.
Yeah, specifically against Wesley, I would have been betting heavily against this happening because I was nodding in agreement to your entire speech about Wesley being a very, very good calculator.
I did jinx him, but also, he just made one rushed move. He missed queen g1, and after that, see, mistakes seldomly comes alone, as they say. Now knight b3, compy boy already saying what is better.
Winning, actually, yeah.
Let's figure it out. Takes.
Knight g7 works, I assume, yeah. And then knight f5 check, and I guess after king g6 something bad happens like rook d7 or whatever. I don't really see how this is made though. It doesn't seem to be made. Queen c2 maybe simply or whatever, I don't know.
What about this?
Maybe rook d6, yeah. Rook d6, king f5, queen h6 might be made. But Hikaru doesn't do it. Hikaru plays queen e1 instead, which is also a very strong move, but he was...
queen over.
Yeah. He was supposedly completely winning with knight g7 there, but he's still much better.
How am I ever going to give a speech again about that openings matter and it's good to start with good positions? If Hikaru just starts with any lost position and then wins, like, let's play queen e2, knight d1, then we'll win later.
Yeah. Gay from Molman says, this is deja vu of the first tiebreaker against Schach. To a degree, but... that I think was a bigger mess, honestly. I have a vague recollection of that game. I thought there was... I mean, Schach clearly was doing very well, but it didn't look like such an absolute sort of no counterplay, no nothing disaster as this one was for the first 20 moves.
Chet is saying it's not Hikaru, it's Wesley himself, and him blundering doesn't mean make Hikaru slippery. Yeah, it's always a mix, right? I mean, Wesley sometimes does lose control, but Hikaru also is always there to pounce when there's one not perfect move. So yeah, I don't know. It's obviously a mix and it factors into the strengths and weaknesses. generally you would expect a player of Wesley's class just to win this game in 3, 4, 5 moves, and you go home.
Yeah, I briefly refreshed my memory of that first tiebreak against Schach. That wasn't, no, I don't think that's a fair comparison. Hikaru got a kind of a suspect position out of the opening in that one, but it wasn't nearly as bad, and there was definitely always some counterplay for him, whereas here, he just, by move 15, all of his pieces were sort of on the back 2 ranks, and he had just a very poor position, both positionally and tactically. The outcome is the same though, yeah.
Knight takes G7 on the board.
So if king takes, I assume we go...
King takes plate, Knight F5, he probably wants.
Yeah, Knight F5, King H7, Queen, hang on, Queen H7, Queen H4, Knight G8, maybe Queen takes E5 simply.
This is not mate, Rook D6, F6.
Yeah, we can start with Rook D6 instead of Queen H4. Maybe. Still don't know exactly what the point is though.
He has played Queen takes E5 instead of Knight F5 check already. Let me look up what the win was, because according to the engine, it wasn't this. Knight F5, King H7, and Rook D6 directly.
Yeah, but what after Knight G8 here is the question, yeah.
Knight G8, Queen D2.
Ah, Queen D2, yeah. This is very cute. F6,
double attack.
Yeah. F6, Rook D7 check is a very, very cute detail. Queen B8 is a very good move there by Wesley, creating a pin on the knight on B1 with D6, and also, yeah, very importantly, generating additional counterplay. But they're both playing on very, very little time, so mistakes will be starting to creep in, and also, I mean, the perfect play will be much more difficult.
H4 plate, creating some luft. Rook B1, apparently a mistake. We can believe the bar. Takes, King to H2. Queen back. And, well, stuff could still happen. No, it's not like black is collapsing directly.
Yeah,
Knight F5 check, King H7, Rook D6, you have Rook G8, no?
Yeah, Rook G8 forces white to play G3. Yeah, this might end up being defensible for black, because there is now Rook E8, Rook E2 counterplay. This might end up actually being defensible, because white needs to play King H3, because otherwise Rook E1, Rook E2 is a perp, and now we have Bishop C8, which takes a lot of pieces off the board.
Some rook ending all of a sudden, you look at the computer line.
Yeah, Rook A2, Rook D4. Probably is actually a draw. I don't know how easy it is to make, but I assume this is maybe holdable. I don't know.
And Rook G8 on the board. The good news for Wesley is his moves look reasonably forced also. Now Rook E8, I guess you play because you don't wait around for Rook F6 to happen.
Yeah. It does look like he will get to that endgame, and whether he holds it or not is a whole other question. But yeah, decisions appear to be, up until a certain point, very, very straightforward and not a lot of choice available, which is a good thing when you're not on increment there. They haven't really gotten to play entirely on increment point yet, but...
What was the time control? 15 plus 10 seconds per move.
15 plus 10, yeah, so 50 seconds is oodles of time. Such as it is, yeah.
Check, King H3 plate, sidestepping further checks. Yeah, this move also looked forced to pin the knight. Yeah, it does happen. Rook ending, incoming, pawn to G4.
Yeah, this entire sequence is already on the board up to Gf5. Rook A2 looks like the best move. You could make, no, you don't make an argument for Rook E3. Giving up on C6 doesn't really look right.
Like some move like Rook E5, yeah.
Rook E5 maybe, but yeah, I'm not sure how happy I am about these types of trades. King on H7 is still very passive.
Yeah. White can gain more space. It might be lost. We'll see what Wesley decides. Rook A2 would be a better version, but he goes C5.
Yeah, he goes C5. Taking away
for Rook C6, Rook A2, because if these pawns get traded for each other, black has a passer, this should be a draw. Like,
yeah, C5 is a strong move. C5 is a very solid decision.
stuff like this. It
Yeah.
will just lead to a trade of these guys or rook b4, whatever.
And then we get to a very fun discussion of who will feel they got away with it. I think it's sort of still Hikaru, but Wesley is the sort of the last one in this game to have the bad position.
They'll both be unhappy. It's the beauty of chess.
Mm.
Doesn't mean one side has to be happy at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we have similar thing with black having the c-pawn, white the a-pawn. He will try to bring his king to fight the c-pawn, but I don't think he'll be in time. Rook c4, king g3, rook b4. The king also has to keep an eye on these guys. He plays h5 and just c4. Does this do the
I think we can just push. Yeah, we can just push. King e2 or king e3. Yeah, king e3 probably slightly more. No, king e3, rook c4, you lost. Yeah, so you probably shouldn't do that. But yeah, here rook d4 is just a draw. I assume.
Wesley not even in a hurry. He's saying I can bring the king to.
Yeah,
it's just a draw.
Yeah, Hikaru doing the clever thing of creating a very kind of optically annoying threat of f6 check, pushing the king to some bad squares, but you can even ignore it. It doesn't really do enough. You can quite easily go for this position because
Wesley does that. These pawns will just get traded. It's a draw no matter what.
Yeah.
Rook c7.
Yeah.
You go king g8 and if takes rook a6. Yeah.
We don't even have to defend 3 against 2 because it just falls.
Yeah, I guess they just make a draw here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very eventful first game, which will end in a draw now. Plenty of swings.
That was exciting, or I'm not sure if it still is exciting, but it looks like they've done the sequence a bunch of times, so the game should be over. Yeah, draw agreed. Oof. So let's do a 3-second recap. Wesley very much wins the opening after Hikaru takes a bunch of liberties, like varying degrees. Obviously, this is not the most critical setup, but then Queen e2 is usually a very strange move in these positions, blocking this square from the knight later. And then bishop g5 also mainly lost time, even after h6 had to retreat the bishop to e3, or chose to, because this pin is really not doing much in these positions here. Knight f8, knight g6, black is much better. And yeah, Wesley played a perfect game.
Yeah, pretty much. Queen a7 in particular, I think for kind of by this point the blitz game is a very impressive move. And yeah, if he just goes rook f8, king h1, rook bg8, which I assume
computer says rook e7 is even stronger. I'm not sure how much of a difference that makes. Let's see, king e7, king h1, rook d8, some knight, some square, and rook e d7, and it's resigns. So he could have wrapped up the game. Yeah. With a few precise moves.
Yeah, but even with rook f8, king h1, still going rook bg8 here, and then e5, e4, and
yeah, so crushing. No, he just blitzed out this one move, bishop e2, and after that the game turned around completely. Because I think he missed after rook d2, knight d3.
Pretty sure he didn't see queen g1, yeah.
Covers the knight.
Pretty sure, yeah.
And after that, Hikaru got to develop an attack. Really only took this one move, which is strange in such a superior position usually. Wouldn't need more than that. And now Wesley had to fight for survival with all these pieces coming in. I guess Hikaru missed some win. Yeah, we mentioned knight f5, rook d6.
But I think without queen g2 this doesn't win. And yeah, seeing queen g2 from afar is because your mind is immediately drawn to moves like queen h4 or queen g3, which create a threat of mate in 1, and they all run into f6. But here
this
f6
is a rough move.
Yeah.
Then in the game, white was better. Computer, I think, had some complaints about rook b1, one bishop c8, but rook b1 very normal with little time, bring the queen. And there's also no direct win. Yeah, this sequence seemed to be.
Yeah, actually, this entire sequence.
Maybe it helps for black. So both sides were winning at one point. Wesley should still be more unhappy because he was winning for like 10 moves with normal moves, while Hikaru only missed one direct tactic, which was tricky, this queen d2. And our first finals game ends, our first tiebreak game ends in a draw. How long is the break? I don't have coffee. I don't even know what to do with myself. I keep trying to find the time to go to the supermarket and get coffee.
You've legitimately run out of coffee.
I've legitimately run out of coffee. I'm also out of milk, but I do have like vanilla ice cream in the fridge, which I never eat. But in emergency cases, like being out of milk for coffee, you can put vanilla ice in there.
And then it becomes café glacé.
It becomes something, yeah. But with the coffee being gone, there's no way out. I don't know what to do, but they will play another game.
Can I get
Normally it's like 15 minutes break, right?
Yeah, about 15 minutes, yeah. Explain the logistics of this to me. Can you get stuff delivered?
You can, but you could also just move your very lazy ass out of the house for 5 minutes and buy something.
No. Come on. Human interaction. I'm aware of your coffee buying habits, so there's no actual human interaction, but there can be even fewer human interaction if you can get it delivered.
Isn't that more human interaction? Like you have to go to the door, open it? Maybe not. Maybe they
can just drop it off, right? And just
I don't know. I'm generally capable of getting coffee. Also, it's not exactly the biggest problem the world has, but I still want to apologize for the rest of the show if I do it uncaffeinated.
That is a problem.
Mix soil and hot water. At least it will look like coffee. What's Wesley gonna do? Is he now gonna say, oof, I don't trust my calculations? He's not an optimist, not like us. So he might just say, oof, I can't play at all. I miscalculated. I'll make a quick draw and go to the blitz. Or is he saying, I need to win this one with white Hikaru good blitz?
I'm very unsure.
Also, usually you just make moves, right? You don't
Yeah,
decide you'll make a quick draw, but still, if he plays e4 and in the Berlin, you have some options, for example. While if he plays d4, it could mean he wants to play some chess. Not saying in e4 you can't play chess, but if you're fine with a draw, he would probably start with e4 this time around. Caro Khan has been predicted. Nah, e4, e5 is happening. The Berlin is happening. d4, knight f6, c4, e6, and either the Nimzo or Queen's Gambit declined is coming. I would say if Wesley feels like going for it, he will maybe try to ask a question here. I'm not sure how he feels. There's a question, isn't he better in rapid than blitz against Hikaru? Yeah, that's a fair question. I'm not sure. Wesley is also world-class at blitz. He might not have the stability. Like Hikaru, you never see a blunder no matter what time of the day you wake him up. But Wesley is very capable of being one of the very best in the world in any time format as well. I guess it's mainly a mental question, how he feels about the last game and how also what he's prepared, if he's prepared something.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly have plans for the first two games. You normally don't really, at least like I wouldn't have detailed plans what I will play in the Blitz if the Rapids are 1-1, but I'm pretty sure they have some kind of an idea what they will play in the first two, and they will move from there. I think, yeah, against Hikaru's repertoire, Wesley doesn't strike me as a particularly enthusiastic, Berlin refuter. Like MVL would legit, I think, just play the endgame here for a win, and he occasionally does win them, or Sasha in his best, Berlin defeating years. But for Wesley, I would expect sort of not the Berlin. I don't know what exactly, but sort of not the Berlin.
Yeah, unless he wants to draw, then it's very much the Berlin.
Yeah. And also the other layer there, of course, is just, whether he actually feels like a huge dog in the two Blitz games that will follow. I don't think he does.
There is a thing, it's a bit irrational, but this fear of sudden death, which you sometimes have in these moments, thinking, if I lose this game, I'll have lost the finals. Well, if I make a draw, I do get 2 more games to play at the very least. So you prolong it, even though it weakens your overall expectation. Not saying Wesley will do that, but it's a thing you sometimes see happening that stops people from taking big risks in these situations because they think, no, I can prolong the match even if you're not a favorite in the blitz. We don't know. We will go on a brief break. I will scan the house for substances that look caffeinated, and we'll come back with the second game in a couple of minutes. I don't know the exact starting time. I'm assuming in around 8, 9, 10 minutes they will restart. Thank you so much for watching. Use the break to visit either Chessable, where you can find Peter's courses, chessable.com/Peter, on the Grunfeld if you're looking for a good opening against d4, or my course that covers everything e4, e5, gives you a complete black repertoire. So check those out. Also, check out chess24.com, where you can still get 40% off premium with the code Grand Prix 2022, and watch our latest series on Inside the World Championship match, everything that happened from Team Magnus's perspective. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Till then.
Absolutely.
E5. It's E5, Patzers.
A complete repertoire against 1e4 based on 1e5, now available to study with Chessable's unique Move Trainer technology. The backbone is the Marshall Gambit against the Spanish, with 3 Knight f6 against the Italian. Jan Gustafsson has revisited all these lines he has played for 20 years and worked on as a second for Peter Lecko and Magnus Carlsen, amongst others, with the help of the most powerful engines out there, Leela 0 and Stockfish 10. This has led to many new discoveries and a repertoire ready to master on Chessable that can serve the student for a long chess career.
Maybe e4 doesn't exist after all.
E5. It's E5, Patzers.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan Gustafsson, and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it, because you were in Thailand during all the match and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the two kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.
Feel it now, 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 now. for your skin, sing for yourself. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. Feel it down, 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 down. Think about it later. All I ever wanna be is eyes for your eyes, lips for your lips, skin for your skin, sing for your skin.
Welcome back, everybody. I was going to say the game is about to begin, but it literally just began. Second tiebreak game. Wesley So with the white pieces now against Hikaru Nakamura, and he does go for the Berlin, which, yeah, we mentioned during our prediction segment as an indicator. He probably might look to play it somewhat safe. He goes for rook e1, followed by knight takes e5, which is not a draw offer like d4 and d takes e5, but still a very, very solid line, let's say.
Yeah, not the most exciting opening in the world, but obviously, well, actually, feel slightly unsure saying that, but I would assume rook e1 is still a winning attempt compared to the non-game yesterday. It's not the most ambitious thing in the world, but white does occasionally get a little bit of an edge, and people have won nice games in these lines.
Yeah, winning attempt is strong wording. It's not a forced draw like d4, knight d6, d takes e5, but it's still the most solid line there is if you don't want a forced draw. Let's see if Wesley has something up his sleeve here. Knight to e8 plate, typical move, clearing the way for the d pawn and regrouping this knight, which was not particularly well placed on d6.
What do they do here? Do they play d5 immediately, or do they start with knight c3? I'm
mildly confused about, I said typical move, but is that what they typically do?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, isn't bishop f6 by far the most popular move in this position?
Yeah, exactly.
But all of these things kind of flow into each other. This is this funky line that you get from a different move order as well, right? White can, I've looked at this at some point. It's a draw, or maybe it's slightly better for black, but you can play like knight c3, bishop f6, knight d5 here, right? I'm pretty sure it doesn't lose, but it also doesn't win. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not this position. It's not like this. It's bishop f6 and then queen h5 there. Yeah, it's the other way. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, bishop b5d is actually not that bad for white at all, which is maybe slightly surprising. But considering how few pieces black has developed, it's maybe not such a shocker. But obviously, bishop takes e5 is not forced.
And Wesley is saying, I do want to play for a win. He plays d5, which, yeah, is somewhat a recent thing in many of these positions. White saying, I will push the pawn and grab a bit of space. Black does get reasonable squares for his pieces, so it's not like black is in any direct trouble, but it's still a statement that you want to continue the game. Bishop c5, rook e1 back, not even waiting for d6, and then he will go knight c3.
Yeah, I was mildly curious about queen f6, but Hikaru not interested, because it does provoke some slightly awkward developments from white, like if you play queen f6 on a previous move. But yeah, it's gone now.
Well, you lose that tempo back now. Queen f6. Let's take here.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say I was curious if I can play like knight d6, b6, bishop b7, rook a8. This time.
Okay.
Kind of a weirdly going back on my word about the knight on d6 being misplaced, but yeah, it's
things changed too.
necessary, I guess. Yeah, should be fine for black, these types of structures, but also white does have some slightly more space. White currently does have, more of a chance for control over the one open file on the board. So yeah, you can understand how occasionally these things don't entirely equalize.
I guess black shouldn't take. This looks like it's giving white what he's hoping for now. 94, bishop g5, but he does take.
Yeah, it needs to be followed up by a precise move. Maybe h7, h6.
Bishop g5, that's bishop f2.
F2, yeah, okay. Yeah, that explains a lot of things, yeah. Because otherwise it would legitimately be quite annoying, I think. Bishop g5 if you didn't have bishop f2 here.
Still looks somewhat annoying, doesn't it? Like queen f3, let's say.
Yeah, I guess he goes h6, or queen d7 maybe is a move.
So,
yeah, bishop g5, maybe knight g4. And, reposition it. Unless we're just... Are we getting mated here? Maybe we aren't, yeah. Bishop b6. And then f5.
So rook e7, I'm curious.
Oh yeah, rook e7 I blundered, of course. Yeah, rook e7 might be a reason not to engage with any of this. Yeah. I think h6 is a kind of a fallback position, but then you can't easily play queen d7 next move because it will be hanging, right? No, I mean after knight f6. After knight f6.
Oh, here, h6.
h6 is playable, but let's say I go h3 here. And if you play queen d7, you just legitimately lose a pawn to bishop takes h6.
So sharp.
Yeah. Even rook e8 is annoying because I can take, and you will have to take with the knight, I assume.
Yeah, if white gets some sort of grip like this, it will be suffering. Wesley taking moment. Also not clear if he has any interest in this queen f3 move. Plenty other moves. Bishop e3. You could even
bishop e3 is
ask. It looks very tame.
Queen d7, rook a8. This doesn't look like very much. There's been
Can we ask a question here? Like, still curious.
Okay, yeah, queen b5 or something. Yeah,
yeah, or maybe queen b5 directly. I guess you can take everything.
Yeah, I think I can take and go knight takes d5, right?
Take.
Doesn't quite work out for white. Should be. I mean, probably is a draw, but like.
Yeah, we're not losing.
Like in my mind, the model game in this types of structures still remains that game that Magnus won against Limon Aronian. I think in the tournament we did live, right? I think we covered that game with you.
I recall the game, not the tournament. Was it?
We did it. Or? No, I'm pretty sure it was one of the Norway chess years. We either did it from Hamburg or from Stavanger itself. Yeah, maybe here with queen e4 we still have to
still
grovel a little
press
with black. Yeah.
Wesley's thinking. So you don't go bishop g5. Other than that, plenty of options. Yeah, he goes h3. Useful anyway, stopping knight g4. And also threatening bishop g5 now, because black would have to give up two pieces.
Yeah, h6 looks logical, and yeah, Hikaru does it very quickly. Because, yeah, allowing bishop g5 seemed suboptimal. Is there ever any point in knight a4? It just feels like these are not the light pieces we actually want to trade, right? Even if bishop b6 happens, it feels like this knight against this bishop is not something that black isn't too worried about generally.
Yeah, could still fish for a micro advantage, but I don't know. Can I just go b3?
Yeah, maybe.
It's still delicate. No, black needs a couple moves to at least equalize fully to get rid of all the rooks. Considering it's a rook e1 Berlin, it's as exciting a position as we could have hoped for.
Yeah, it's definitely playable. Like I actually very much like your b3 bishop b2 suggestion, because then knight a4. Let's say if we go like naively, we play queen d7 and then rook e8.
He's played bishop d2, which yeah, it's also very logical, keeping an eye on e1 if he ever needs to take on e8 and double or bring the other rook.
But I very much like the idea of keeping the knight on f6 sort of in our sights a little bit, because now queen d7, rook a8 feels extremely logical and also quite comfortable. Unless he wants to play queen f3, yeah.
Can still do this, yeah.
But maybe bishop d4 is a playable move even. This doesn't feel like much. Yeah, bishop d2 felt to me like it was maybe a little bit too...
I also keep wondering if these positions are just nothing. But with the bishop alive, it's a good bishop here. Black should be fine.
Yeah, queen e4, and then... I mean, it's still, you have to kind of... There's not much of a threat yet, but it's not very comfortable.
Yeah, queen d7 played.
Yeah, feels like if you want to play knight e4, now is the time, because if you allow rook a8, it feels like all the rooks will actually come off, and if all 4 rooks come off, you're never ever winning these types of positions. So it's too little. It's too little.
Mr. So, show us a plan. Show me the money. 94 still looks natural to me.
Yeah, I think bishop d2 very much indicates 94, because I really don't see how else we justify the previous move. You can't just allow rook a8 without even trying to fight for the e-file.
Just can't do it. Queen f3 played now. Threatened bishop h6. And yeah, we briefly had this.
Yeah, would have been an interesting choice, but I just don't see how we progress from here, because you can play queen d3, and probably the best move is bishop c5, but Hikaru will not be unhappy about that.
Well, he did play queen f3, so yeah. Bishop d4.
Yeah, you just go back. We're just from here, so like I mean, bishop b6 might be even stronger, yeah, just to remove the slide hook. And if you don't attack the bishop, I will play rook a8 very comfortably here. So maybe knight e4 here, but
looks weird.
Yeah, looks strange. Yeah, knight d5 now needs to be calculated. Bishop b2 exists. Yeah, it just doesn't look right.
Hikaru also thinking, what else can he do though? Bishop h6 is a threat, so you don't put a rook here.
Yeah, I think this is an additional point of attractiveness in bishop's d4 favor, because yeah, knight h7 doesn't really look very nice. And how else? I mean, you can play king h7, but once again, who does that? Yeah, I think it just improves, very much improves the knight e4 positions for white. Rivo Baldo says, I think first to second place difference is 6,000 euros. I thought there would be more fighting between players. They just didn't really want to play the classical games. It was very obvious they're not particularly enthusiastic about, energy expenditure previous 2 days. But today, I mean, game one, if game one didn't entertain you, I struggle to picture a game that would.
No, they do want to win. It's, if you want to look at it financially, it's not like they're giving up 6,000. You could argue whoever has the edge in the classical by not fighting there gives up, I don't know, a couple hundred in the expectation, and probably that was worth it to whoever would have the edge there to save some energy, if we want to use that logic. But usually I don't think players think about the money at stake when playing such finals. Like, it's more tired qualified for candidates, or tired can't qualify for candidates.
Pretty much, yeah. And yeah, this is actually now a bit of a calculation by both sides, because rook a1 suggests bishop takes h6 might be a threat, and Hikaru says no, don't believe that. I'm still playing rook e8, and now if I take on e8, yeah, I think he's going to take with the rook. This is what I think will happen. Rook takes, and if bishop h6, I think we can take on. Ah no, bishop c3, b takes c3 is interesting, because queen c3, queen f5, I think is good for black, because I have rook e2 and I have knight takes d5 as a source of counterplay. This I'm pretty sure is completely fine. But b takes c3 kind of bothers me a little bit. Denying black good squares for the queen on d7. And the pawn in front of the king, like the white king's queen side is completely destroyed now, but if you have to play something like queen a4 here, I think you have legitimate fears of getting mated on the other side of the board while you're collecting those pawns. Like queen g3 or some kind of rook d4, f4 or something. I don't know exactly how, but it looks scary. And yeah, Hikaru is now pausing because he obviously has some other options he can take with a knight, for instance, which stops knight takes e8, but it misplaces his pieces a little bit. Stops bishop takes h6. I mean, I can't name squares correctly.
All right. Yeah, he must be pondering the consequences of knights, such as the one you just mentioned.
It feels...
Maybe it just looks scary, but he's judging. No, he does take with the knight.
Yeah, and now obviously the difference is if you take the pawn on h6, bishop takes c3, there is nothing hanging on f6, so black just wins a full piece. So
that's also locking up these pieces, no? No, some active move.
b2 is still hanging, right? So you...
Rook b1, queen b3, I don't know which one.
Go back. Rook b7. Yeah, queen a4, queen b3, queen e4 or something. I don't know. It's yeah, you still have to be at least a little bit precise. Wesley quickly plays queen d3.
Takes the bishop.
Yeah, we probably
want to go somewhere.
Yeah, I think we always play bishop b5, right? If we end up provoking f2, f4, we are, I think,
not happening.
Yeah.
Although, who knows? But feels weakening.
Yeah, I mean it's a playable move if it actually forces bishop takes c3, but until black plays knight f6, I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, I was wondering if some stuff like this. What's black's next move?
Bishop
minor clear.
Yeah, I don't know. Lack of weaknesses is going to tide black over in all of these positions, I feel. You can also make an argument for keeping the bishop on the other diagonal, just going bishop b6 here and saying it's a good diagonal. We worked hard for it, we're not giving it up so easily.
Excellent diagonal.
Excellent diagonal, yeah, one of the longest diagonals on the board. Only...
Fifth till eighth? What's its status? Oh. Or is it, do we count these as two separate diagonals, or is it one diagonal?
It's one diagonal, no?
Okay, then that one. That one is even higher up the list. No?
Tied for third.
It's pretty good.
It is pretty good, yeah.
Although less good than Wesley is going to do in this tournament.
Yeah. Bishop b6. Bishop b6 played. Yeah, knight e4 looks logical, but I'm guessing, like, in particular, if it provokes, if it's provoked with a tempo, we are okay about playing f5. Knight g3, knight f6, or...
Do you have tricks?
Yeah, I thought I did, but then I realized I'm not entirely sure what they are. I mean, I have tricks, they just don't work, which is a sign of the times. Queen f5. But then bishop c3 is kind of annoying, right? Stopping knight f6, in fact, creating a threat of knight f6 check.
Yeah, so once white gets this set up, knight f6 never happening. This bishop is beautiful, but doesn't contribute that much. This could be proper troubles, no? Apart from the threat. Rook e1. Wesley says, please go back, sir. I just want to keep control.
Yeah, but that position is, we discussed it a little bit. It's kind of annoying for black, right? Because if white keeps full control over the e file, the bishop gets to c3, and then black will really struggle to make sensible moves. It's not immediately obvious how white wins those types of positions, but it's very, very clear that they are annoying. Maybe you can play queen f5 here.
Yeah, I was wondering if this is cunning. Probably a good move, no?
Yeah, it's a good move. It's a good move. And yeah, knight f6 played by Hikaru. Hikaru clearly spotted that knight e4 is not as attractive as it would have been in many other positions. Yeah, looks fine now. As long, I mean, as soon as you get to play rook e8, obviously your problems are pretty much completely gone. And knight e4, queen f5, white might not have equality even because both f2 and f2 are hanging here.
Trick.
Ah,
Allez.
allez, le bleu. Yeah, you do have equality.
I'm not better. I still want
You are even a little bit better. Yeah, I have a feeling I will make a draw after queen g6, but meh.
94 played. Let's see if this happens.
Yeah, queen f5. I think what you've just shown is potentially the only way for white to stay in the game, but it's definitely good enough to stay in the game. Otherwise, I feel like we're losing material. I just don't see any other moves that don't lose material. Whoa.
Didn't happen. I'm just making other moves.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, queen g6 still exists.
Yeah, I'm not sure it does anything, but we don't lose material, do we? Like something.
There we go.
Oh, he plays g4.
There we go. Queen g6 looks semi-forced because queen e5, bishop c3 would be a large mistake. Or that, yeah, that would be a larger mistake. That also pretty annoying. So queen g6, and yeah, I kind of like c4. You can also maybe make an argument for bishop c3, right? Just trying to make black to commit to trades.
Yeah, many possible moves. I'm not sure. Also, a4. We don't gain much. A6.
A4 sometimes a decent idea. The issue with bishop c3 is that it might actually be forcing black to make moves that they want to make, such as maybe knight d7 and knight h7 with maybe ideas of f7, f5. And the knight on e4, like, if we could get the queens off here with white, we would be, I think, reasonably happy, but I don't think we will be very happy if the trade happens on the d3 square and our structure gets destroyed by that doubling on the g file.
Plays bishop c3. So here we go. 97 could very much happen.
Yeah, I also I want to say that probably the position after knight e4, queen e4, queen e4, rook e4 is maybe holdable with best defense, but if there is any other choice, you probably never go for this, right? But here, I mean, you go rook c8, king f8, you at some point push c6, you probably don't lose, I assume.
Yeah. The other one, you're playing for 3 results, don't know? Like with f5 landing, black could very easily win.
Well, the issue is f5 actually runs into knight g3. I don't think it's a threat yet. I just don't know which move to make with white. It's kind of weird, because if you move the queen away from the g3 square, f5 will land and you're in trouble. But in order for you to make progress, you kind of want to unpin your knight. So it's well, it just goes knight g3. Yeah, that actually makes a ton of sense. Yeah, because currently the pawn on d5 is difficult to attack for black, and knight f5 is a very massive threat. Rook e7 as well. Clever.
We just go after this pawn. What is this?
F2 is also hanging. Yeah, that's more than one pawn actually hanging here. Because I wanted to play knight f5, rook e7. I might still play knight f5, rook e7, to be honest, because I don't like anything else.
Hikaru doesn't want any part of it, just goes g6.
Interesting. Rook e7? Just rook d8, king f8, I guess, yeah? He's in time, because knight e4, king f8, we have just sidestepped the fork in time. Yeah, nicely calculated, and Wesley agrees, goes king g2. Now we can go knight c5 if we wish. I guess knight e4 might be a good response, though. Probably makes, like, this is at least a draw and might be more for white, right? We always have a perpetual with knight d7 check. And we might, we might just play rook e7. Yeah, knight c5 doesn't look forced. We can go rook d8 or rook c8 anyway, like get those moves out of the way, get the king to f8, and then reevaluate. It was knight e5.
Who's better and why? A knight e5? Okay, at least black is not better. It might be good enough to hold here. If takes.
I don't know. I mean, rook d8 here. I can imagine this becoming sort of slowly becoming better for black, because I'm not sure we are coordinated well enough to not lose the d5 pawn.
How do you ever win it? Bishop d4.
Bishop d4 is already a threat. Yeah, like I go king f8 here, and then I go bishop d4. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was
white survives, but it's not.
Yeah. I'm very sure we never take. Yeah, I think. Although I didn't guess Wesley's move, I thought he was going to go knight e4 anyway. But I guess Hikaru was prepared to play f5 there. Rook d1. Do we play f5 anyway? Takes knight h5 f4 or something. Yeah.
Looks scary. Not sure how scary, but somewhat scary.
Knight g6. King f7. No, this doesn't look that bad.
Not too scary.
Not too scary, I think. I think we have our own counterplay along the g file in all of those positions. But also we're completely unforced to do any of that. Yeah, he goes rook e8. This is an interesting move though, because it allows knight e4 with seemingly a lot of tempo.
Just wants knight d7 and say, you do your thing here, or what is this about? Yeah, knight e4 played.
Knight d7, I think we go f4 and king f3, right? Just try to gain some space, maybe go f5 ourselves to cement the knight on. People were kind of demanding I use the word cemento.
Not familiar.
That's
Is that when you're doing intermezzo to get a safe position?
I'm not entirely sure what the word signifies, but I very much can relate to people having, the proper Peter withdrawal symptoms. And I would like to assist, but I first need to learn what the words mean.
I can teach you. I've been around Leico long enough. Cemento is what you say very, very happily when you make a move that creates an unbreakable position. When you stabilize your position, you say cemento and you make a gesture like this to show how cemento it is. Maybe not exactly. Yeah, something like this. And it's even better if you can make an intermezzo, which is an intermediate move or a Zwischenzug that creates cemento. But that's hard to do.
I think Wesley is now actually, this is not cemento, because in the current position, you can go f4, and after knight d7, you can take and play bishop f6.
And into cemento.
Into cemento, yeah. Intergalactic something.
Journey.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said something smart about the chess game. You can take. What would you take?
f4 knight d7 takes bishop f6.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I thought that was good, but actually c5 bishop d8 probably holds. I still like this for white more, but it's probably not enough to win.
But bishop d8 is cemento.
Bishop d8 is very, a long way along the way to cementoing everything. If we take en passant and go rook c1, are we better, or it's all pretense?
And Emchino is explaining that it's an Italian word. He knows because he's Italian, and that it means cement. I had no idea that cemento could mean cement.
Who could have guessed? Yeah, who would have thunk it? Is Wesley considering something fancy here? Like, nah. I wanted to take on e5, go d6, c takes d6, and then knight d5 and rook c1, but that's completely ridiculous, right? I mean, it's kind of beautiful, but you also this is the way you lose.
yeah. Then cemento and king comes, and you regret all this beauty.
Yeah, it's a very fancy idea, but yeah, I don't think it ever is going to happen. A4
played by Wesley.
Yeah,
how he's fishing for some other potential weaknesses.
Yeah, I think this is very clever, because the same position we've been discussing, like if black goes a5 here, I think the position I mentioned earlier improves dramatically for white. I don't know if it improves to the point where it's like winning, but you definitely take white very comfortably in that same line after f4 and bishop f6.
Also now this makes
rook e6 exists, so yeah, I was
just mentioning.
Trying to calculate that.
But in general, strategically, this could be unpleasant.
Yeah, and it needs to be addressed because the bishop on b6 is actually running out of squares. In the current position,
And he does play a5.
a5 played, so he's correctly figured out bishop b5 does not actually win material, but the other issue remains to be addressed. The one about the rook and bishop ending. Because black will have a very, very suspect structure there. And the rook on d7 is going to look very, very stupid. It will not really have very many moves for a while.
We do have confirmation that cemento does mean cement. But there is no verb in Italian. There's no to cemento. While in English, you could cement something. German, it's of course zementieren. But there's no cemento term.
Cementify.
That's just semantics. No? Going to a5.
Yes, there is a verb. It is
h4 played. There you
cementar.
go. Cementare. That's what I thought. Because in Spanish it's cementar. So my approach to Italian is add an E if in doubt. Never got me very far. Cementarian in Dutch. This cemento theme seems to be fairly widespread in many languages.
Hikaru blundered all of the materials now. The game
Whoa, that's the opposite of cemento.
This is very much non-cemento. Yeah, bishop b5, d6 wins.
It's just wins.
Wins
Ooh,
all of the
this
materials.
is out of character for Hikaru. And this is something Wesley should spot. Here, it's a fork. And here, there's no stopping the fork.
Very uncharacteristic, yeah. You can't even continue the game. It legitimately just, is over, yeah. And Wesley has 4 minutes. Like, if he doesn't play bishop takes e5 here, it's going to be very, very shocking. Yeah, there we go.
He does, and yeah.
There,
this is it.
There we go.
Wesley So is going to win. Hikaru is going to qualify for the candidates. Yes, c6. Out of character. We've talked enough about how Hikaru never blunders. The trend was Wesley's friend, though. He managed to put some pressure over the last moves with this nice a4, h4, double rook pawn, double whammy. It's unpleasant, but
yeah.
Hikaru go through the motions, but yeah, the game will come to a stop soon.
Soon enough, yeah. Yeah. Doggo disapproves of c7, c6, clearly.
He's allergic to blunders.
Yeah, somewhere around here, I think you can quite comfortably throw in the towel because, I mean, there's really not very much to base not resigning on in this position.
But if you throw the towel into cemento, you might never see the towel.
That's, definitely one of the fancier ways of losing a towel. You can also just forget it in the gym and they never give it back to you.
They say it's finders keepers in your gym?
I don't know, it just kind of disappeared. I also am not sure where I could have left it, but it disappeared. I speak from very, very bitter personal experience.
Maybe you should ask David Towell. Sorry, again.
Savage.
King f6 played.
Absolutely savage, yeah.
To b3. Wesley, not in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to take on a5 without losing any of his stuff. He actually isn't kind of in a hurry here.
Hikaru not in a hurry to resign. Could play rook d5 or resign. Those are the two options.
Pretty much.
That look reasonable.
Yeah, both look sort of equidistant.
They will both lead to the same result.
Yeah.
He goes b5. That was one of the two options.
Yeah. Still leads to the same result, though.
That it does.
Yeah. A, B, C, B, knight a5, or the immediate knight a5. I mean, it's just... I think leaving some pawns alive on the queen side is preferable, but yeah, really very much a matter of taste here.
As long as you have like 4 or 5 pawns and an extra horsey, you'll probably be okay.
Yeah, it's not a very serious discussion here. King G3 or GH, King G3 is also fine.
Check.
Yep.
Well, Hikaru did cement his place in the candidates by making all right the semifinals here.
Yeah, actually,
So
just
the rest of it for him was just an encore, and Wesley came through here.
Yep. Game's still continuing, but main just Hikaru just sort of going through the motions here, because why wouldn't he? But yeah, doesn't even have a pawn for the piece here. He does have a slightly more active rook, which is why resignation hasn't come yet, but yeah, it'll dissipate. And he also, as Ilya Chesnik mentioned, he also won the tour in general with. Now that we kind of know he lost the final, he'll have 23 points to Richard Upwards, 20. And I guess Wesley will be in third?
I do not know. I don't think anybody is very concerned about third, because the main purpose of the tour, of course, to my mind, is to determine the two players that will play in the candidates.
Yeah, I think you go d3, d4 here. In terms of like the cleanest conversion here, I think you go d4, ed, king f4 or something, and just once your pieces start activating. d4 knight b7 is also, I think, reasonably clean, and then before knight c5. But yeah, it's all entirely.
Never keep the pawn, Wesley. There you go.
All entirely academic. Yeah, now we go d4.
Knight b3. Never. Prepare d4.
Yeah.
Knight b3 is nice.
Yeah, and Jake confirms that Wesley was already in third place even before the final started. So obviously, gaining more points by winning the final is not going to decrease his standing in the tour.
The chat is saying you look 10 years younger with the haircut.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh no. Thank you, chat. Very kind of you. Or how dare you, chat? Depending on whether
depends how old they think you look now.
Yeah.
Compliment, you know.
Peter is damn near 30. Says, well, that's what he should have said, but that's what Alex Stein says.
Now we can play d4. It's finally covered.
Yes. Damn near 30. Oh, knight a5. I quite like this, like extreme restriction strategy that he is going for. No counterplay for you, sir. Rook d6.
Careful not to repeat moves here.
Yeah. Time to play d3, d4. Come on, Wesley.
Never.
Now. Actually, now. Let's go. Rook d4.
There you go. King e3.
But rook d4, though. We've lost.
Hikaru's saving this one?
We've lost a pawn for no reason. Like, we're still completely winning, of course, with like d4 here and then
Wesley.
But yeah, that would be quite something if you actually manage not to lose this position. I have actually failed to win some absolutely winning positions against Hikaru by him just sort of defending past the point where, like, I personally would have resigned that position against him, but he not resigning that against me has been proven to be correct more than once. So yeah, I can relate. But yeah, I don't think Wesley throws this away. Rook takes d4 is cleaner than knight takes d4, and then rook d5 check, and then yeah, somewhere around here, doubts kind of completely, if there were any, just kind of go away.
It's the best position he's had for like 10 moves. Only 2 pawns left. One up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're not even wrong, yeah, but yeah, it's also completely lost. Can you refuse your opponent's resignation? Asks Imosuji.
Yes, you can not shake hands and not sign the score sheet. Not sure if you still win. Probably have to sign the score sheet.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that's been very deeply researched over the course of history. So So Hikaru wants to go h4, h3, h2, and then rook c1. Like rook at d5 check. Whoa.
Not happening. Rook f4. Wesley is playing it clean. King e6, knight d4.
And then it disappeared off our screen. Has it happened?
Ah, sorry. Was this just on my screen? Or maybe it was. What's going on? I'm so confused. No, he did play rook d5. Sorry.
Yeah. We go like king f6, rook b5, h4, and we hope for specifically the line king f4, h3, king g3, h2, king g2.
It's and a very specific hope that he does not think of covering his pieces here. But,
but you need to find some hope here. Like you either just resign or you go for this specific one trick that.
Wesley, not impressed. No, the king on g6, you could also bring the knight back. And that's what he does. Okay, now you might want to call it a day.
No.
So,
or king f4 or knight g4 or honestly.
Don't say any other move, you know.
You will actually okay, knight g6 doesn't win. Yeah, there's a number of things here which don't win, but by a number of things, I think in this particular position, I mean two things, right? It's kind of a rare position where white has about 20 moves and only 2 of them don't win. It's impossible to give away that rook.
Knight g4 looks nice and tidy. Tending rook h5 followed by b5 to keep all the stuff.
Yeah, 1 against 1 on one side you might actually play out for some reason, even though there's still.
Why?
Yeah, I have no idea. But I don't really understand why this is being played out. So I'm guessing. It's all very much guesswork by this point. I think he's going to play b5 and then king g3, king takes h3.
Yeah.
He's not giving up the b pawn without being forced to, and I don't think he can be forced to give up the b pawn. What? Ah, clever. Rook h3, rook b1. Very clever.
b5 is still legal.
Yeah, knight f2 is also very legal. Yeah.
b5 played, rook b1, king g3, for example.
Rook g1 check. We have knight h2. Yeah, that does. Wow, he is gaining more time somehow, or perhaps he is actually avoiding the position with the knight on h2,
pushing back the king.
Preparing king g3 somehow. No, okay,
never. King g3.
Never. I like the never part of the programming.
Oh, he is going for it.
Going for.
Maybe it's just repeating moves.
No, he's not going for anything. Yeah, he's just gaining time, even though he has 3 minutes in this position. Rook b3.
Very hard to take a pawn from Hikaru, even if you're a piece up.
Knight h2 and then rook c5, and then probably at that point you call it quits. I would assume. It is the last game. Hiki J 101 if Wesley wins, and Wesley will win. So
5 played, king g6, rook f6.
Yeah, rook f6
Wesley is gaining space here with the
with
the b pawn. King g5. No, you could also take this if you so fancied.
Yeah.
Some options. I also do like king h3, intending rook b5, f4. Checkmate.
That also looks pretty. Are we blundering some kind of a stalemate? It's difficult to blunder stalemate.
Very hard.
Yeah.
And Wesley does win. Hikaru resigned, I think, after playing king g5. He didn't see any potential good outcome anymore. Yeah, congratulations to Wesley So, who takes this tournament. And wow, did they prepare? Did they know Wesley was going to win? This graphic came like a second after resignation.
Yeah, was very impressive.
Yeah, congrats to him. Also, congratulations to Hikaru, even though he lost this one. That was an amazing comeback to classical chess, qualifying for the candidates after a 2-year break. And with the candidates shaping up the field that it looks like it's going to be, that should be a fun tournament. Who we got? We got Ali Reza, Caruana, Nakamura, Rapport, Nepomniachtchi, Duda, Rajabov, and very likely Ding.
Yeah.
So
Still,
pretty good list.
you know, some technical questions to be answered in regards to Ding's participation, but I think by this point, mostly the question, will he get a visa to Spain or not? All the other questions appear to be pretty much nailed on. He will play the match against Wei. That will get him to the number of games required, and then it's all about logistics and COVID protocols and things of that nature.
Gios Geezer are saying it's criminal that Wesley is not in the candidates. Yeah, he obviously does have the strength. It would be great to have in there, but he had to qualify. He didn't. That's how it is. But yeah, pity for Wesley. So of course.
Yeah, and people have mentioned that in the, sort of the epic comeback by Linier in Berlin 1, the one that ran in February, where Wesley scored +2 in his group, and that wasn't enough to win the group outright. And then he lost to Linier in the rapid tiebreaks. That seemingly just robbed him of a very, very good chance of getting there, because, yeah, clear third in the standings.
Chet is also missing Levon, Anish, and Amin Tabatabai. Tabatabai, well, he played great here, but that would be, early to say he's a must-have in the candidates, but I wouldn't rule it out in the future. He looks.
Yeah, he impressed greatly in the Grand Prix series, as you know, qualifying from the group and running Wesley very, very close in their semis. Wesley, I think, actually said in an interview after he won the rapid tiebreak, he said, Amin played better than me today, as usual. Gracious in victory and in defeat, even though hasn't been defeated in this tournament. So yeah, I mean, very, very impressive. His first super tournament, and great showing for him.
Yep, I think that's it from us, unless you have other people that are good at chess where that should be mentioned. Thanks for watching, everybody. It's been fun. Sorry, these finals were cut short by the 2 quick draws in the classical, but it was still interesting to look. I hope you had a good time. Thanks, Peter, and see you in the distant future. In the meantime, buy our courses on Chessable, chessable.com/Peter and chessable.com/Jan for repertoires against E4 and D4. Check out Chess24, where the World Championship Series is out. And as a premium member, you can access that series and all the other video series, as well as challenging in every Bantam Blitz. So a lot of good stuff there. With the code Grand Prix 2022, you save 40%. That's it from us. It's been a pleasure. See you next time.
Yep. Bye.
Hi everyone, welcome to our new video series. My name is Jan Gustafsson, and I'm thrilled to be reunited with fellow Magnus Carlsen's trainers, seconds, Peter Heine Nielsen, Magnus Carlsen's head coach, and Laurent Fressinet, Magnus Carlsen's French coach, are both here, and we will be going through the World Championship match 2021. Our experiences with it, the games, what we prepared, where we felt things went well, where we felt things didn't go well. Peter, we have different perspectives because we were in different locations.
Very much. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about it, because you were in Thailand during all the match, and I was in Dubai with Magnus and his non-chess team. So I see some kind of debriefing where we will discuss what was the mood in Dubai, what was happening in the technical department in Thailand, and we got to sort of basically compare notes and get the 2 kind of inside looks from the match.
Very much so. And Laurent, we are actually in your private home. Thanks for having us.
It's a big pleasure to welcome both of you, and I'm sure it will be interesting to talk to you guys about the match.
Likewise.
So we hope you guys enjoy the series with our behind the scenes insights. See you then.